Welcome to B2B with Randy and Craig, where we speak to local entrepreneurs and learn about their journey. Welcome to B2B with Randy and Craig, where we discuss the rise, the fall,
and the kicking up.
No, we're not doing that. It's a family show.
Well, just once.
I'm Randy. I'm here with
Craig from That's a Wrap Productions.
And today we have with us Ron Starantino.
Yes.
From Long Island, one of the largest real estate agents on residential.
I do okay.
You do all right. You do all right.
I do
He's
okay.
modest too, by the
he
way.
is.
Listen,
So-
you know what? It's a crazy industry. Today I'm on top, tomorrow you're in the bottom.
Well,
so
that's true. That's true.
I don't boast. I just do.
I'll
you know?
boast for you. How
Thank
about
you.
that?
Thank you.
Before we get started, first question we got to ask: Why real estate?
So I was out in California for many years, and when I came back, I wanted something to do. So I started taking the classes with a friend who's got a lot of money.
Take me back. How many years ago is this?
So I was a stockbroker for 11 years. I'm going to go all the way back. I was a stockbroker for 11 years, retired off of Wall Street after 9/11. I kind of had an imposter syndrome at that point. I did so well. I made more money than I thought I'd make in my lifetime, and lost more money during 9/11 than I thought I'd ever make.
Well,
So I was like, okay, it's time to leave. Got into the motorcycle industry, became the vice president of Von Dutch Custom Cycles, and worked with Roger Borgetts, the custom bikes back in the day when there was a craze.
So that's back. I just want to start.
2000, yeah.
Isn't that during the Orange County Chopper days?
So I had the first Orange County chopper in the state of New York registered as Orange County Choppers. I met those guys in,
Nice.
yeah. So Big Paul, his son, and the original guy there named Lee, who really helped put the bikes together. I met them at one of the motorcycle events. I think we were in Myrtle Beach. I met
Got
them at
it.
a Harley dealer in Myrtle Beach. And I hooked up with Paul Sr., who I liked a lot. He was yelling at the time. I was a little more jacked
He's
up.
always yelling.
No, but he wasn't the personality. He was still Orange County
Chopper,
Steel. He was still
Steel.
Steel.
Oh.
Yeah, he wasn't even the choppers yet. He just started it for his son. He started the business with his son, and we made friends.
So your entrepreneurial journey, and we're not even into it yet, has already taken you past some stardom as we're
Oh
talking.
yeah, no, and the inception of when the motorcycle industry got hot. That's
Right.
when it just got hot.
Right. So,
I was
so
there
you're
at the
in it
beginning.
right when it's growing.
Yeah, so Roger Borgett, who I worked with, I became one of his top salesmen for this Lamborghini-style business plan of territories before the internet and selling motorcycles that cost between $35,000 and $100,000. And I sold them. I became one of his salesmen. He'd bring to Florida, Sturgis. I started selling a ton of those. Roger Borgett was on the first biker build-off against Billy Lane. So I was there for the transition for the motorcycle industry when it went from professional wrestlers and hiring celebrities to promote these events to the bike builders themselves became the celebrities with the biker build-offs.
And that's what was sexy on TV, and that was the
All of
reality
the
stuff
shows.
that we saw.
I did Chopper Nation. I was on everything. You name it, we did.
Have you ever come across a celebrity you felt starstruck by?
Yes, I've been very blessed to
I
work.
thought you were going to say me. I swear
Yes,
to God.
Randy, yes, Randy, yeah. But I thought he was Stanley Tucci,
Yeah,
so
well,
I got
thanks.
thrown off. So I've been blessed. When I was younger, I was actually a highly ranked bodybuilder in the middleweight division, and I was a professional IFBB official, the International Federation of Bodybuilding. I got to work all the Mr. Olympias.
Tell me you met Schwarzenegger.
When Arnold Schwarzenegger first started when he first started the Arnold Classic, he took that over. That used to be the Pro Mr. Universe. When he took that over and there was no Pro Mr. Universe, he was partners with Jim Lorimar at the time. And Wayne DeMilia, who I worked under, was brought in to help run the first couple of shows for him. And I was there. I've got pictures with a very young Arnold. I met him years ago. Wow. About 2 years ago, Brian Powers, Jim Lorimar was sick and now passed. Brian Powers is now his partner, called us up and said, we'd like Dee to open the event now. So we had Dee open the Arnold Schwarzenegger Classic.
D as in
Dee Snyder,
Dee
who I
Snyder.
managed about 2 years ago, opened the Arnold Schwarzenegger Classic.
I thought we were interviewing somebody about real estate.
And we got to, this
is awesome. This is awesome.
So we got to, it was so nice because we got to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner with Arnold. I always had eyes on Arnold because one of Arnold's right-hand men, Arnold now travels with about 6 guys from Austria. If you hear him speak now, it almost sounds like someone doing a bad Arnold impression because he's always with the German guy.
So it's getting thicker.
His
It's coming back.
accent kind of went a little backwards in that way, so it's really incredible.
That's hilarious.
But one of the guys, his name is Reuter Dietert. We call him Dietert. I introduced him, or I was with him when he met his fiance at a party in Hollywood. She was our boom mic girl. I worked on Sons of Anarchy. She was one of the sound people from Sons of Anarchy. So when Arnold walked into the room, Dieter is by his side, and we had dinner, breakfast, lunch, and where I had I could make a phone call wherever he was smoking a cigar. Whoever had eyes on Arnold, we could be there.
Oh, that's
but
awesome.
Back in the day when I met Arnold for the first time when I was a kid as a bodybuilder, he had this electricity around him that I cannot describe. I've only met a few times in my life or felt a few times in my life.
Well, he still has it, right?
Right.
He still
That's what
has
he
it,
heard.
but when he was at his peak, when he was the #1 box office before he even had kids, he was married to Maria Shriver,
Yep,
and I was
yep.
with them in the elevator and stuff like that, and he was running the show. But he was on the Presidential Council of Fitness, so he did have Secret Service with him. It was him, his people, the earpieces.
And how many years back are we going?
This was, I guess, late in the 80s. So George Bush, so he was on the George Bush Presidential Council of Fitness, and we were walking down this huge hallway, with it was all roped off and people were screaming for him. And
Secret Service, the whole thing.
they were with him, yeah,
Right.
because this was before he was governor. This is he was walking, and at the time when he ran for governor, we actually had Dee go out there and help get him the governorship. Dee ran around saying we're not going to take it with him. So it's a
I
whole.
love it.
There's so many contacts with
I
him.
love it.
I can't the connections. But so we're walking, and I can't believe I'm walking with Schwarzenegger because at the time he was Terminator. You know
Yeah,
what I
he's
mean?
over the top.
Right,
He's
right,
over the
he's-
top. I mean,
he's
just
the
incredible.
biggest thing going on.
Walking with him, and we're
I'll
walking.
be back.
And there was velvet ropes, and everybody was being held back. And as he's walking, he was so sharp. He stopped us. It was Secret Service guys, Arnold, a few of his people, me, Wayne, or Wayne, me, whatever it was. And he stops and he goes back in the crowd, and there was a young girl there. And he walked over and he touched her face and he said, "What's your name?" And she said, "Maria." And he goes, "My wife's name's Maria." And as soon as he touched her face, she started crying. She was like tears, happy tears.
He's like the
And
Beatles.
I had the chills, and I'm like, I used to tell people that in his prime, if you were at Nassau Coliseum plugging in a plug somewhere in the furthest corner, and this guy pulled into the parking lot, your hair would stand up on the back of your neck. There's something going on. It's an it factor I've only seen a few times in my lifetime, but he was so on his game that he actually gave off an electricity. And like everyone in the
crazy.
room,
Yeah.
everyone in the room with Schwarzenegger at any given time would sit taller, be sharper, be more interesting, or just be quiet.
He's
to
a
hear.
lightning rod.
Yeah.
He was
He's-
at the
Yes.
time. Yeah, he still is. But now,
Amazing.
30 years later, whatever it was, we got to spend breakfast, lunch, and dinner with him, and it was so nice seeing him and his friends, and it was really great. And then we reconnected with him. We were doing a filming for A&E. We were doing biographies for A&E out there, and we got invited to his Mighty Oak Productions near the Gold's Gym in Santa Monica. And it's a building that he actually helped build in 1985. It's still his office. He's got the whole third floor.
And he's still there now.
He's still there, and he's got the whole third floor.
Wow.
And he actually gave us a tour.
Did you get him that real estate there?
I did not give him the real estate. I did not sell there, but I actually got to hold a little cup that was, because Dee Snider at the time was holding like the Golden Globe that he had, and he had this whole award thing behind him. And I went for this little like loving cup, this little silver loving cup, and I looked at it, and he goes, "Do you know what that is?" And I'm looking. It said 1967 on it, and he said that was the last bodybuilding championship award that I won in Austria before Joe Weider brought me over.
Wow.
And that gave
Amazing.
me goosebumps. I also got to hold, before I think it went up for auction, but I got to hold the original sword of Conan. He had
Oh,
it
that-
there.
that's-
I was holding the sword, and I could not believe the weight on that. And he said that they had a bunch of other ones made that were styrofoam that looked like that.
Right.
But that was the one when you see him
When you
wielding
see
it.
him flexing
Yeah.
and
When you
everything.
said that was heavy. That was like,
Incredible.
oh my God, that thing had
So-
to be 30, 40 pounds.
So what was the I guess the light turning on that made you say like let me get into real estate from doing
So
stockbroking?
I came back here and I thought I was just going to flip houses and invest. I've been blessed with some money, and money makes money, and you want to do
Right.
something.
Mm-hmm.
I got licensed in real estate because I wanted to know all the terminology and really become familiar with it. I don't mind starting at the bottom with anything because
Right.
you have
You
to
gotta
know.
learn. You gotta
you own
learn
a
the-
business, you got to know how the lights turn on, how to
Yep.
pump the gas, how to fix the car. You got to know everything so you
Agreed.
can understand it. And I started learning that way by taking the classes and getting a license. And I went to my friend's shop to visit him. And he said, "Ron, you've been home for a while now. You ever going to work again? Go hang out there and
Right.
have lunch." I was kind of like, I don't want to say semi-retired because I was in my kind of like my
You're too
40s.
young to retire, but you were.
Yeah. So he said, "You ever going to work again?" And I said, it's funny you say that. I just passed my real estate license. I just got my real estate license. I think I might do something with real estate. And his wife came running out of the back room as an ex-stockbroker, as an ex-salesman, as a motorcycle salesman, a guy who was selling TV shows in Hollywood. It's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother story. I was working with reality companies. And she comes flying out. I didn't even know she could hear us. And she goes, you've got to sell Dave's father's house. We're going to put it up for sale.
And that was the first listing.
That was my first listing. And then our other friend said, will you sell my dad's house? He's going to move on. And from that point on, I never slowed down.
That's
so I think
awesome.
within my first year in real estate, I was already in like the top 50 people because I
And-
just started getting all these listings.
And you're a guy that's very passionate about everything you do. You don't have, anything. We can't say that with the radio. You're all in. Do you get a strong sense of accomplishment when you put a family in a home, they got that dream
love it.
home?
I love
and
it.
it's that
Yep.
same accomplishment that you got when you were a bodybuilder?
Yeah, it's more of the accomplishment I got when I was a stockbroker back in the day when I first got licensed. It was very different then than it was now. When I first got licensed in the very early 90s, there was very few computers.
Right.
They were on the girls' desk and a couple of desks.
There was a computer, right?
We had whiteboards and you were allowed to have competition. So we had money under management, which was up there, which you'd see, which was written in.
Right.
How many accounts and how many leads and how many referrals. I love that I thrive under that because
It's
you
the
can,
best. You can
and
see
because
what
the whole
was
room,
happening.
you could see it.
Right.
So selling houses to me and having that accomplishment of the instant of opening an account and having them cheer for me at the end, I have that same. I love that. I love getting it done. I love getting the most money for people.
So you like the hunt or the kill?
I like a little bit of both.
A little bit of
A little
both.
bit of both. Yeah.
You're not a farmer, that's for sure.
No, well,
Well, relationships,
yeah,
yes.
relationships. Yeah, to me, it's never about the money; it's about the relationship, and I think people see that.
I agree.
I'm not a broken down belief that I'm desperate for the commission. I've told more people what not to buy, or how to sell it, or what not to accept,
And that's why you're successful.
and that's why they refer me. I'm 100% referral based.
What would you say is one thing that you found in a house that you were like, I need to get one of those in
Egress.
mine?
Say egress.
Egress.
No cheap plug today.
So I can't even tell you how much I've done to my house now. I just got hot air pumps. I changed over to Amana, my whole air conditioning and hot, because I go to these houses that are absolutely gorgeous. I'm like, oh, I need this.
Yeah. Well, you're seeing everything,
Yeah, I'm
right?
seeing everything. I came home from a beautiful house that I sold, a gorgeous house that I sold, and they had this amazing pantry. So I called Mr. Handyman. I'm like, you got to fix my
gotta
pantry.
do this.
You got to
You
do
gotta
this.
fix
Yeah,
my
so
pantry.
Oh, you must see some
new
outrageous
siding.
stuff.
Yeah, I got new siding. I got a roof that matched my side. I got the midnight blue siding. I made George GMP Construction swear he wasn't going to do that color for anybody. Of course he does. It's
Right,
all over my
right,
neighborhood
right.
now. But I got like a midnight blue siding on my house with a speckled roof because it was out. So I keep getting these ideas and it costs me money, but I love it. You know.
And your territory, I'm sorry, Greg, and your territory is in all of Long Island?
My footprint is from Queens to the Hamptons.
And how does somebody get a hold of you if they want to use your services to purchase a home or they want to list their house?
They just call me up.
And at what number?
310-560-4978.
Say it one more time.
310-560-4978.
Whenever I
If
tell
you're
people,
j-
pretend like you're talking to Craig with you. 3-1.
310-560-4978. So it's funny. So it's a California number, and it's my edge. So when I got my cell phone in California, they said it was one of the last prefixes for Beverly Hills. It's like having a 212 cell
212.
phone.
Right.
So I got it, and I kept it, and I came over here. So now if you're a realtor, one of these other realtors, maybe just getting your license, have been around forever, and you see a 310 number calling, you're not answering it.
Right.
When I call back again or I text immediately, hi, this is Ron Starantino calling about your house.
Got you.
I swear I'm on Long Island. I'm from Coldwell Banker. I own him now because they call me up apologizing for not taking my call.
I love it.
So
It's
they're
a great
completely disarmed.
strategy.
It gives me, it's you sitting down while I'm standing up during a fight.
Right,
So
right.
they call me up and they apologize. I love my 310 number. It's a California number, but they call me right back or they take, I'm so sorry. I thought it was, no problem.
yeah.
It disarms them and then we could go right into the conversation.
Beautiful,
Brilliant.
beautiful.
Brilliant.
If you're just tuning in to WBAB 102.3, you are listening to Ron Starantino, the world, I would say the world's best real estate guy.
Residential.
Residential real estate guy. And all around celebrity know-it-all, I guess.
Listen, I've just been at the right place at the right time. Yeah.
Well, no, not necessarily. Also, is what you attract, right?
Yeah,
You're that kind of person.
Yeah, well, luck is preparation meets opportunity. So I
Right.
put myself in places, and if you can maintain it, I used to say I might be able to get you in front of 100,000 people, cut the line. I could help put your kid in American Idol, possibly, but they've got to sing to
But
back
they've
it
gotta
up.
know what
to do.
They've got to back, and that's happened to me with a couple of shows where my friends thought their wives or girlfriends could sing, and I send them in, and these big, because
And they can't.
at the end of the day, it's all casting. So
Right.
they just really want to cast it. It's great that they have this pomp and circumstance and have 100,000 people online, but at the end of the day, they want what's best for the show and what's going to
course.
sell. And if I can get you there, you still have to back it up, and that's where I've been.
And
you know?
that's got it.
And that's why, again, with Dee Snider, we touch base. I've been on Dee Snider's management team, not his agent, his management team, for over 20 years,
That's
which
awesome.
guides his career. We went from Twisted Sister, when I first started introducing him, where some people would say to me, is he clean now? Because he used to have the file down teeth and the big hair.
Yes.
The guy's never done a drug in his life.
It was just a shtick. That was his.
It was really him. He was an angry, tough dude. He's a heavy metalhead all the way.
Right.
But what people didn't understand, and this happened with the PMRC hearings, which is coming up on the 40th anniversary.
It's crazy.
When they tried to say it was satanic rock and they wanted to kind of start putting labels on these albums, he bucked the system. We've got a documentary coming out on it with Two Rivers out of Scotland, which they're based in the UK now. We're going to do an amazing. We picked them because they are from another country and they're looking at it like the news from what it was. Everyone else we spoke to here wants to tell you the story. And what that does, it steers you to the answers they want you to have.
They want you to hear.
When you do it as news, you're coming up with your own conclusions of how it was. So when Dee Snider went in front of Congress and said, I'm a Christian. I'm the father of at the time, I think 3 kids or 2 kids.
Right.
He's got 4 children now. But
Right.
I'm a father. I'm a Christian. I've never done drugs. I don't drink alcohol. Back then, that's when Ozzy Osbourne was biting the heads off the
Bats,
bats.
yeah.
Right.
That's when Van Halen was trashing rooms.
Right.
I mean, literally, Keith Moon just died, maybe, right? I mean,
Right.
you had guys that were smashing stuff. It was so uncool.
Right.
I won't go into his story, but other rockers called him up and said, and Dee's like, hey, man, are you proud of me? I'm representing us. They're like, who asked you to do that?
Right,
He
right.
says that, I'll use his line. He said that he went into battle carrying a heavy metal flag, and when he looked behind him, nobody was there. It was
Right.
just him, because he was exposing because he wanted to fight for them, because they had it so wrong.
They had to look under the hood to
They
say
had it so wrong for who he was. So when I started managing D, he called himself the specialist of a disease that was cured. Why? Because when grunge came out in the 90s, as soon as you saw the first button-down in shorts and the flannel, heavy metal died at that moment.
At that moment.
Right.
And it wasn't cool again yet. It wasn't
Right.
even nostalgic yet. So I got involved with D in the late 90s, early 2000s.
that in between.
Yes,
part.
when he was a little bit
But
down.
I want to ask Anthony about those hearings. I remember when they asked him, and they also asked him about his fan club.
Oh,
so,
that's a mess.
so I
Yeah,
love,
yeah,
I
yeah,
love
yeah.
that
Yeah.
he talks about how
Right.
clean he is, and they go, "But what's the name of your fan club?" And we
Right.
can't say it, but it
Yeah.
was, but
I
it was just brilliant.
I see you brought a prop with you today.
Yes, I did.
Well,
Yes.
can we show that? Well, for you at home that can't see it on the radio, he's got the Nobody Move Without Reading This Book by Robert Esposito.
Robert was on our
He
show.
was on our
Yep.
show recently.
So I'm very proud of this book. So Robert's a good friend, the way I know Randy, and we've gone to lunch. And because I do, and you never know who knows who, right? Everything is access in life, right? It's
Right.
all my friends that do so well out of college, the best colleges. I don't think it's what they learned in college. It's who they met in college.
they met in
It's
college,
all
who you
about who
know.
you know.
Right.
So I went to lunch one day with Robert, who I absolutely love. Rob, he's a great guy. He's a my cousin, who's very successful, describes Rob and got involved with us because he describes him as an executioner. He executes. So many
He's
people.
got a little bit of what you described Arnold has.
Yes, yeah.
Right? A little bit
He
of
does,
that.
Rob, some people overthink. If you stand in the middle of the street and say, should I cross or shouldn't I cross, you're going to get hit by a car.
Yeah.
You know what? You'll get nowhere. If you just run across, you might get hit, you might not. You might wind up on the other side and you don't know what you're going to see there. And that's what Rob does. Rob just does. He's a doer.
Yes.
And the fact that he had so much enthusiasm for a book that he was trying to put out there, but he wasn't sure of, he didn't have the guidance, he just had the will and the want. He just didn't have the know.
Bingo.
And
Right.
he had a ghostwriter writing it for him. Then he had another ghostwriter. And we're like, Rob, I think the best way it was described is we said, Rob, write your own story. Write us a story that you're going to write, that you just told us, that your girl wrote. And he spent a lot of money. And when he wrote it, we said, it's not apples and oranges, it's apples and peanut butter was
Yeah.
the exact. It's got to be in your own voice. And then I wound up going to a publisher I know because I've been involved with quite a few books getting published. And I went to a publisher and sold her Moving So Hot. I said to her, have you ever moved? And I moved 23 years ago, and it was the worst experience of my life. I still have nightmares about it.
Teed it right up for you.
And I said, well, I've got something we're going to do then. And she jumped right in.
And what I got to say is that book, when you hear it, a book about moving, you say to yourself, it's actually a very good read. And I'm going to say what you said, especially if you've moved.
Yeah.
You can relate,
Yeah.
and it's an important tool. And I know you were very instrumental. But you and I went to lunch, and you said something about Rob, which is special. Anybody could write a book.
Yeah.
It's creating the hoopla
Movement,
behind
the
it.
movement.
Yeah, the
his,
movement.
His drive and his movement behind it. I've worked with many celebrities where they write a book, and then they just wait to see why isn't selling or is it selling.
It dies on
where,
the shelf.
Where are they sending us? You know,
Right.
you've got to really, if you've got a passion and a drive and you can make it happen, you know, if you're not waiting for things to happen and you make stuff happen, your enthusiasm becomes contagious.
100%.
And it carries over. And if you believe that much in yourself and you really have a product that might be a want for, like on Shark Tank, the products that get picked up are the ones that are filling a need
Right.
that somebody has.
Right.
I felt that Rob was filling a need with this, not just for the public to buy. I don't see people running out
No,
in
it's for
droves.
the-
It's for the insiders. It's for the agents. It's for the brokers. It's for the
You're a broker.
the loan
That's a
officers.
great gift.
It's a great gift as a listing. Anyone who gets pre-approved for a mortgage, a pre-approval, their loan officer should be giving them this book.
Absolutely.
And for the price, they should be buying. So to have not onesie twosies where you got to meet a certain bar on how many you're going to sell, to know that people are going to be buying them at 50 at a point, which at a time,
And
or 100.
customize on the inside.
And the white label that we're doing, which
Right.
was Rob and Rob's idea, to do a white label where you can buy it, get it customized, get your face on the inside, like we just did 1,000 Gala editions,
Right.
where you get your name in there, and we might take that. I want to call it almost like a syndication. You know how you go to other states? Sons of Anarchy, when I worked on it, the key to Sons of Anarchy, it wasn't the numbers that they did. Right? On basic cable, the number one show on basic cable was Game of Thrones. And at one
Right.
point, I think they had, I forgot, 16 million viewers.
But they were big in areas, you're saying. They took
But
up.
so it was Game of Thrones on basic cable. Then, believe it or not, it was Jersey Shore. Then it was Sons of Anarchy. We had like between 3 and 5 million viewers.
Right.
We immediately got reviewed when I was there. Renewed when I was there season 4. They renewed us to season 6 with the possibility of season 7. That was unheard of. Why?
Right.
Because of retention of commercial viewership.
Right.
People would watch the commercials. So what they did was they'd go into all local markets. If you were watching Sons of Anarchy here on Long Island, you would see the local Harley dealership advertised. You would see the local.
Smart.
Yeah, so it was that's where the money
That's
is.
where it's
Everything's
all at.
cash driven.
Right.
So what we're going to do with this, it looks like, is we're going to do a Westchester edition, different editions,
Smart.
where we're going to have sponsors go in the back, and we could get it out to all the local realtors out there as well.
So you're behind it. You're managing this. Not managing. You're working with and
I say
helping them.
It's great when everybody's rowing in the same direction.
That's a
I'm not
better
rowing
stick.
any harder than anybody else.
Perfect.
We're just we see the land and we're rowing really hard to get there.
Got it.
Because it's fun and it's giving us drive to work together and to work with Rob and even like my cousin Mike Amoya, who's an 8-time Emmy winner. who's
Unbelievable.
Got my music.
He's got a tattoo or two, right?
He's about 864, I think it is. Yeah, but to work with people that all have the same drive and call each other, it's just
It's great.
It's almost like plugging in your phone.
There's nothing more fun when everybody's aligned and on the same page.
Yeah.
We're running out of time, but
sorry.
I could
I'll
talk
talk
to
forever.
you. I
All day.
could talk to you again and again and again. And we didn't even touch on the full entrepreneurial journey that you've been on, but how unique of a journey you've been on and how inspiring it is that you're a local guy on Long Island now. We know the 310, but here you are and you're rubbing elbows with some celebrities. And what I love is you're taking on their energy and you're bringing that
But
with
you know
you
what?
every
They're
day.
only a celebrity if you're impressed by them and you know them. Because I might have been in a room the other day with a bunch of celebrities that you don't know who they are. Or I don't know. I'm not into golf or some other stuff.
Right, so you don't even-
and you
right.
might be like, that's the best guy in the world. Like, when I met Johnny Damon on Celebrity Apprentice, I used to work Celebrity Apprentice. I wasn't a super fan. We became good friends. Johnny came out here. We spent time together.
He was
in
just
the
a regular
Hamptons.
guy to you.
Yeah, he's.
Right.
I still text. I mean, years later. I mean, if you don't know who it is, it's not a celebrity, but it's that energy they bring.
That's what it
There's
is.
a common language of success. It's like when you're swimming in streams. When I was a stockbroker, if you're stuck in this stream of low dollar, that's the stream. When you hit the high dollar, the neighbors, the relatives, everybody. If you guys all had this, if we were all at the same means, and I said, I want to go get a Ferrari. And you'll say, you know what? I'll get one too. I'll get one too.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's what you want to hang around with.
That's what you want.
On that level with celebrity, it's when everybody's there. I was just telling a story that I was spending this whole week with Emilio Rivera, who's now in Landman. He was the president of the Mayans. He had the TV show The Mayans, and he's been in everything from Con Air to Spider-Man 2. You name it, he's been there. He's been there. And when I was spending time with him, it was just so nice that we could just talk and just really.
You weren't
have
starstruck.
that. Yeah,
You were just
there is no starstruck.
And they got to love that too. All right.
Sorry.
Let's go back to the real estate real quick.
Yes.
How do I get a hold of you? You're talking to Craig.
Yes. Yeah, Craig. I'll talk slow for Craig.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's
Say
a little
it
special.
slow.
310-560-4978.
And that's to list, that's to buy.
Yes.
Ron will take you around. He'll listen to you. That's the most important thing before they shut us down.
So from B2B with Randy and Craig, that's a wrap.
Thank you for tuning in to B2B with Randy and Craig. Looking forward to hanging with you next week.